Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. We're going to be doing the forward, the introduction, and chapter 1 of Permission Marketing by ThatKidGoran. My name is Dallas Simon, and let's get right into it. Woo! All right, so the forward is written by a man named Don Peppers. He says, consider your own hectic life. It comes down to a question of time and energy. See, we have the same time as our grandparents and our parents do, yet we have literally millions, billions, a limitless, infinite amount of messages, marketing messages that are being broadcast to us every day, every hour of the day. And paying attention is becoming increasingly hard to do because these marketers are trying to get our attention. They're also trying to get the money in our pocket. So the basic idea of permission marketing is, well, let me first introduce the idea of interruptive marketing. So when you are watching your favorite show on TV or watching a sports game or something like that, or you're maybe working out and you're interrupted by an ad for protein shakes or for the new medicine or for Gatorade or something like that, that is interruptive marketing because you have not necessarily agreed to be shown that advertisement. It's just because what media you're consuming at that time, the marketer has paid so that their advertisement could be displayed during a time to interrupt you from what you were doing. See, tomorrow's marketer will use permission marketing more effectively. So that was interruptive marketing. So permission marketing is somewhat of the opposite of that, but you can use both together and they can work really well together. Permission marketing is when you first gain the permission of your customer by, first of all, showing the value that you can provide to them, and they can see maybe like a test bid or a demo or something like that. And once they've agreed that you can offer value to them, they can provide their email address or their name or anything like that to basically give you their permission to market to them. So then it becomes a one-to-one relationship where both the consumer and the producer can benefit. We live in today an age, a beautiful digital information age, which I'm so appreciative of, but there's just simply so much information and so many brands. In fact, if I were to try to buy a beanie like this on Amazon, I'm willing to bet I could find maybe 5 to 10 of them that are all about the same price and they're all pretty good quality. So what's important about this is if this marketer right here is not differentiating themselves by using maybe a permission marketing approach and they're just using interruption marketing, then they're at risk of having a lot of competition and their products can be commoditized because they are not building brand loyalty. We live in an age, so first of all, if you consider how selling, so the act of selling, selling, how that was approximately 50 or 100 years ago, or 20 years ago, before the internet, where the process was to, you usually speak to the customer one-on-one and you'd gauge, what their needs are and what type of things that they might be interested in, and then you would use that to find a product that suits them. But once the television came out and internet and radio and stuff like that, it became more not cost efficient. It became more time efficient for sure. I guess maybe cost efficient at first as well for mass media marketers to advertise on radio or television so that they could reach a big group of audience in a very short amount of time or all at one time, and they can just advertise their brand or their product to many people, and hopefully some people will retain that information and some people will act out on it. But the important part to realize about that is when you're taking that approach, you are not building that one-to-one relationship with your customer. Instead, you are just trying to throw money in the hole and see how many will stick, for example. So with technology today, we have brought that old selling process back. There's something called interactivity, which allows you to build that one-on-one relationship, that dialogue with your customer. And you can do this in a very time-efficient and cost-efficient manner. For example, they have services such as MailChimp or Aweber, which allow you to manage one-to-one relationships with each of your subscribers so that you can basically show them the attention they need rather than just broadcasting to a sea of people based on a certain demographic and just hoping that some people will retain your product or show interest in your service. All right. So the main idea here from the forward that we can get here is that with so much information available to us today, with so many products available to us today, if you are just taking an interruptive approach to your marketing, you are likely to be wiped out because you are at risk. You have not built brand loyalty. You have not built a product with value that people can, you have built a product of value. See, the important thing to know about interruptive marketing is it's not long term. You'll always have to throw money in the hole to see how many people stick. But when you use permission marketing, you can build brand loyalty, you build a customer base, and people can agree to sign up for your product so that when you give them media, when you give them information about your products, they are definitely going to be more receptive to it because they agreed to be informed about it. All right, so let's go to the introduction where Seth Godin, and I'm just going to present this idea at first. He says when he first started getting into advertising, he had no dashboard, if you will. He had no numbers game. He had no way to track his metrics to see if he was making progress. So just a polite reminder to you today for your business or for your behavior, whatever you're trying to accomplish right now, I'd say have some kind of spreadsheet or some kind of journal or something where you can see where you were going and you can note your progress if you are indeed making progress. And if you're not making progress, you can see which areas you can address to improve your numbers. Having a dashboard is essential. Okay, so let's get into the introduction. Seth says that clutter is only getting worse. In fact, it's only getting exponentially worse. There are millions of websites, 100,000 or so or more of that being added every day. YouTube videos, 100,000, 200,000, I don't even know the statistic, being added every hour. Amazon products, infinite amount of Amazon products being added every day, every hour. There are a billion things that are trying to claim our time and our money as consumers. And Seth says, don't be mistaken about it. Marketers are trying to take advantage of every second, every minute of mine that is my free time. They're trying to see how can they interrupt me? How can they get their product in front of me? How can they remind me of that new service they've had? So think about that. If you've gotten some advertisements on YouTube, for example, or on Amazon today, or if you're streaming music and you got an advertisement, just think about all the interruptive marketing techniques that are being deployed against you every day in your consumer life. Your attention has, in fact, become the most valuable resource you have available to you. When you pay attention to something, it requires mental effort and also your time, which is finite, which you won't get back. So when you pay attention, that is a very valuable currency you are showing, and the marketer wants to get a bit of that. There are 4 traditional approaches, which are, I'd say, interruptive marketing techniques that Seth presents that are the approaches that mass marketers are trying to make today to get in front of you. The first one is they're spending money in more odd places. So, for example, Campbell's is purchasing ads on parking meters, Macy's spends a fortune on their parade, and Kellogg's is spending millions of dollars building an interactive website which kids and adults as well can go to learn more about their products or get involved with their community and things like that. This is one approach that they're taking to drive more traffic to their brand, their product. The second technique they're doing, which I've seen a lot more lately, and I'm not saying I necessarily complain, I actually enjoy this because I like to laugh. So, for example, companies such as Taco Bell or McDonald's, they're making more controversial or entertaining ads that are funny and interesting. For example, the Taco Bell ad where they're displaying the new chicken tacos and the man is presented the opportunity to hold another man's baby, and he has the chicken tacos in his hand, and he looks at him, he's just like, but he's like, hold my baby, man. And hopefully you've seen this commercial, I won't butcher it, but he holds the baby, he ends up putting the queso on the baby's head, and he dips the chicken taco in the queso while holding the baby at the same time, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And it's funny, but that ad may be 45 seconds. Only 5 to 10 of those seconds are actually showing you what the product is. The first 35 seconds are trying to get your attention or trying to entertain you. And first of all, I have not even given Taco Bell permission to advertise to me. I guess because I'm watching shows on TV that I've given them permission, but not really. They are interrupting my day, showing me a product that I was not necessarily seeking myself, and they have to try to get my attention so that I can pay attention to their product. Because listen, if they didn't get my attention, I would have been getting a snack or something while the commercials ran so that I could actually be there for the television show, which I actually cared about. So the first technique, remember that they're spending money in more odd places. The second technique is that they are making more controversial and entertaining ads, which means they're spending less time on informing you about the product or about the brand. All right? So to really appreciate this book, Permission Marketing, you have to understand that interruptive marketing, it does work, but it usually requires a lot of money, and the money that you spent has to be continuously spent, because you are not building a loyal customer base that has agreed to get more informed about your product. So when you have interruptive marketing, which is actually essential to have in combination with permission marketing, you've built a product and a service that interrupts people. They come to see, they're interrupted. They come and see your product or your service or your video. And then they see, hey, wait a minute, this person can actually provide some value to my life. Yes. And they agree to give their name or their number or their email address or something of that sort to continue to receive free information or paid information or whatever you're offering for your service or your brand, because they do believe that you can add value to their life. And this in turn creates brand loyalty, which also makes it cheaper for you to advertise to your participants. It makes it cheaper to advertise, and it also makes your media and your messages much more effective, because they have already agreed and they already know what the deal is. They already know that they've signed up for your information. So when they get your messages, they know that this is something that can provide value to me. So that's permission marketing. That's the premise of this book. Let's get to chapter 1, which is entitled The Marketing Crisis That Money Won't Solve. Remember, I said interruptive marketers are now throwing dollars. I don't think I talked about, so the third approach to mass marketing is keeping things interesting and fresh. For example, Apple Computer is changing their slogan, their tagline annually. Burger King, Taco Bell, they are trying new things, new products, new menu additions in certain areas to shake up the game, shake it up, make customers more interested, new customers, for example, more interested in the certain services and the brand that they're promoting at that time. So the third thing, making things more new and interesting. The fourth approach that mass marketers are currently taking to try to get your attention right now is they're using direct mail. Have you gotten anything from American Express or for the new credit card or the new phone or the new clothes or anything like that? What they're trying to do is they're trying to get to you in a way that can get you to see their service a certain amount of time so that you're reminded of it, so that you go seek their service. And what this is doing is it's just, I'm not gonna say it's pissing people off, but it's not getting more attention. It's not being more effective, because as a consumer, you realize that your 24 hours a day, people are trying to get to you, get their message to you, get their service to you, and you realize that you're not interested in that because that's not what you want to spend your time on. So basically, it's throwing more money into advertising is not the most effective way to increase your profits or increase the effectiveness of your brand. The most effective way to do it, which I've learned, and this is the most effective way, because this is probably like the second, third marketing book I've read, but this idea is profound, that first, when you get the permission of your customer, when you invite them in and you are genuine and you're honest about your service and your product and the value that you can provide to them, they can give you, like I said, their email address, or they can join your program. And with that permission, you now have a very valuable asset. When you preserve that asset, when you don't abuse that permission that they have provided to you, then you can customer shake, one-on-one relationship with your customer. You can build a relationship that provides what they are looking for in the form of value, in the form of lessons learned, in the form of a product or service. And they can provide value to you in the form of money, in the form of attention, in the form of the most valuable currency they have to them, which is their focus, their attention. And you can build a service with brand loyalty that is much harder to be broken apart. Your products are much harder to be commoditized because you have built a service that has a following. Okay, so that is the first 3 segments, if you will. The first 3, which would be the forward, the introduction, and chapter 1 of Permission Marketing by Mr. Seth Godin. My name is Dallas Simon. If you could, I appreciate if you like this video, and also if you could check out the blog post for this video, which will be linked at the bottom of this video. I do appreciate you watching. I've had an excellent time. It's actually morning time right now. The sun's not out yet, but I'm about to get started on the day. You have a great day. Peace.